No, I'm sorry. I thought I mixed the pictures.
This is third grade.
That's third grade.
Yes, the class.
No, I'm talking about the kindergarten. They had a prayer. I got confused because it looks like it. It looks like it. Okay. Okay. I don't know which class is that. What? You see this? I like this one. They already have
Oh, yeah,
the book corner.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. I'm excited. That's pre-K. There's DVDs. I see. Is that DVDs or books?
No books.
They're all books. Okay, good. Good. So the pre-K has also started to work on their class, which is very exciting. And this is your class. That's third grade. They have, because now they have that they have a lot of work to do on the liturgy. So they went ahead and decided to keep a liturgy kit over there. This is not your prayer corner, is it? This is your prayer corner. Your prayer corner. Okay. Right. It has a set like the church. It has the kit for the liturgy, which is I thought is great. They have their bookcase and the Bibles. I hope that the rest of the classes, I think we should do a physical tour. That would make more sense. That would get us like excited to do all the classes. I'm looking forward. I hope that the classes would have things like this. And also notice you need a little stand for the season, like the saint or some kind of a visual. I know it's a lot of work, but if you have servants, you can share. Everyone will take responsibility of one thing. Then the experience of Sunday school is, what's the word I want to use? Rich. It's rich. It is not flat. When the child and student goes into your class, doesn't feel like the classroom is saying anything. He's going to say, okay, another boring session. But if he sees there is an icon that changes, there's a candle that you light, there is something you're doing every week that actually makes it richer experience. This is exciting. So I thank you, whoever started to work, and I thank those who are planning to work, and I'm sure you are, to plan to work on your classes. That would be things to keep getting excited about it. I here want actually help. This is the second item in our administrative stuff. I need help. And I'm going to say this to the classes. And the help I need is our congregation is getting bigger. And God forgive me, I don't have the gift of memory. I will tell you something about Sunday. Sunday for me is a very stressful day. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it because I have a lot on my mind from Saturday, especially if I take confession on Saturday and I get people visiting and calling. People have all the problems comes on Saturday night. So I come in the morning and I have a lot to pray about and think about. So when I see people, I barely make a smile, barely. Let alone remember who came and who didn't come. So remembering that, we offer our condolences to Deacon John. Of course, he's here. He came back. We see a physical evidence. So he's in Charlotte. He was in Charlotte and came back today and gave him a call. So we need to send an email saying that he will receive condolences in the church this week too, Joe. Deacon John. Deacon John is going to receive condolences in the church this week on Sunday. So what I want help with is all our families have kids in Sunday school. All our families have kids in Sunday school, except one or two. We don't have this retired generation. We don't have it. We have only a couple, maybe. God bless them. But the rest of them have kids in Sunday school. So please give me attendance. You want to email it or text it? So I want from you not the attendance. I need the absence. If you feel like a family that not bring their kids to your class, you didn't see them, you will know them. Send me a text or email the same day. Don't wait for Monday. Just every week, so I can give them a call or ask about them. This is your help to me. So you're taking the attendance not just for yourself, it's for me too. Okay? So I need who is from pre-K? Okay, kindergarten. and 10? The only missing one is 9 and 10. 11 and 12, Joe.
9 and 10, Steve is the class lead.
Okay. So can you let him know that we're going to have to do this? This is a priority. I can tell you. I can't think of other way. I don't have another way. Unless
Messages, okay? Just write the grade.
text message is fine. If you
And
say
then
like
the
3
name
or
of the
4,
kid or the family name or
just the family name.
family name.
Yes. Any hint to tell me
To
which,
get that,
any family to tell me which family didn't come. That's it.
what do you prefer? You want text or email?
It doesn't matter. I'm now on the phone that Marzula, التليفونات المرزولة that you can get both on the same time. Yeah. So okay. So this is it. I can tell you this is. I want just this to be done. I really am desperate. Okay. Now Sunday school servant meeting, Sunday school staff meeting, teachers attendance sheets and reporting. We have made a decree. If we skip, okay, let me just say this clearly so everybody would be on the same page. Absence from this meeting without an excuse is an automatic firing from Sunday school. One absence without excuse, without unexcused, is automatic firing. Why is it automatic firing? Because what does the message? What's the message that I get? Exactly. Unless you are in the emergency room,
Or one of your family.
that means for whatever reason you don't visit the emergency room on the day just to be there, or you don't work on the emergency. If you're not working on the emergency, don't take that as an excuse. So that's what I mean. If you don't send me something, you tell me I have an emergency or something, then I know that you really don't care. If you don't care, please don't serve. You're hurting the service. You're hurting Sunday school. Because we're trying to make this a serious business. If it's not serious, we don't want it. To have excuses, I would say we have 11, right, Joe? 11 meetings a year.
Yeah.
So it's monthly meeting except August, we give it as a vacation. So you have August out. So 11 meetings. What do you think is the right ratio? I say 65%. That's very feeble, that's very pathetic. 65%, it means 4 absence. If you have 4, it's accepted to have 4 excused absence. But you get the 5th, don't even ask. Right? Right? Okay. I told her I'm going to make an example of her. And she generously accepted.
When I give excuse, we give excuse to you or
It doesn't matter. So you can give it to Joe, Rehan, and myself. It doesn't matter. So we communicate that. So 4 absence is the max. That's it. Now, I want also to have that every 2 months we have a confession. If you confess with somebody else, I really have no problem. Let me just tell you about confession. Just how I see confession. Let me see. Say, it's like taking communion because confession is a sacrament, mystery. If you confess with me or you confess with a Joe Schmoll priest that I have no clue who he is, but I hope he's a legitimate priest ordained by a bishop, I don't care. Because it's a sacrament. If you confess, if you're away and you want to confess somebody in Mozambique, because you're making a trip over there and you confess with them, at least let me know and I will write it on my schedule that you have confessed, because I have a duty for God. I have a duty for God as a shepherd to know, to make sure that you are being shepherded, that you are taken care of. Okay? So we'll talk about that and at the end, because I want to talk about an aspect of confession that is very relevant and it will be a very good topic for all of us. Okay, so every 2 months we're going to have a confession. So I would say this way, you have a time of Lent, then we're coming to the time of Advent, Sawm al-Milad. Make sure before the new year you had your confession. Then during Lent, during the fast of the Apostle, and during the fast of St. Mary, and if you can do that 4 or 5 times a year, that would be fine. So at least during the fasts. So how many fasts we have? Advent, Lent, Apostles, and St. Mary, that's 4. We'll add 2 in between, so that you don't go very long stretch without confession. So I would say, and from here till January, how many months is this?
4 months.
So we need another. So we need to confess during these 2 months before the Advent. So now before the Advent, and then during the Advent, then from January to March another confession, then Lent, then Apostles, then St. Mary. Every 2 months is actually not enough, but we'll say because you're busy and you don't have time, and Abuna is busy and you can have all the excuses. Just do it every 2 months. Okay? And that's what I will expect. If you do not report to me that you have confessed, I would consider that you have not. Okay? And if you want me to go after you, you're adding one more job to me to do. Because if you are regular in confession and you're watching over your spiritual life, I know you're regular and you're ready to be able to, or you're capable of serving the kids. So that it trickles down. I make my confessions. I make it I try to make it every month. And then you make it, and then the kids are learning and getting from what you are doing in your spiritual life. Students ministry. So what are we doing to our students or kids in their classes? So what we need from you is to feed them the Word of God, to watch over their reception of the mysteries, and over their personal life. These are the 3 things that I want to know. That they are actually continuously being fed in the classes by the Word of God. Right? That's their food. Who is the faithful servant? He asked Peter. Who is the faithful servant whom his master appoint over his servants to give them their food in due season? What's the food? We're fed the Word of God and the mysteries. So that your kids are confessing and taking communion regularly. Okay? And I would ask the class leads to watch over these things. And then personally, so somebody's sick. Somebody didn't come to the class this week. Did anybody ask about them? I'm going to ask about the family. But what the kids receive is a phone call from their servant. And maybe we have to agree on a way to convey the message of the lesson. Somehow that lesson reached the kid. I was told from families who came from Texas, Houston, Abuna Yunan. He's the most famous priest for organization, known for his very high organizational level. That he asked his Sunday school teachers to send the lessons by mail if the kids don't come. And they do it. I remember it was Mina Safwat had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, Bishoy and Marin and Bishoy. They told me when they didn't come to Sunday school, they will get in the mail the lesson. The lesson will be delivered to them. Whatever activity, if there's coloring or a picture or something, it will be received by mail. Is this too much to ask? Is it?
Yeah,
I mean, we're sending, if the magazine is enough, but sometimes we don't have a magazine. The magazine is not finished yet. Some classes don't have it, some lessons don't have it. So what are we going to do? How do you, okay, let me go back a little bit. So I asked myself this question. Is what we giving in Sunday school important?
yes.
If it is important, then what should we think about the kids who doesn't come? Oh well, it's their mistake.
Okay, more practical thing is to email something to them.
That's fine. If you think it is more practical and easier to send it by email, then do that. We'll do
The
it.
problem is when we're reading the lesson, it's very long, so you'll have to summarize it and write it and send it, so it's not going to be the lesson that will be really prepared. So I don't know if we're really committed to all this.
I'm just trying to, we as a group has to struggle with this. If what we're giving is important enough, maybe record it. Maybe record it and send it as a video or a particular. Would that be too much?
They're not going to watch it, it's very boring to record it.
And if you ask, and if you talk to the parents, this is what will come next. To make sure that your kids or students are getting what you are delivering. If it is important, then I have to have the collaboration and the cooperation of the parents. If the parents are on board with you, they might help. They would have and sit with them, let's listen to this together. Let's watch it together. Let's see what they got in Sunday school. Right? In the school, I'm just like taking one example. I try to get the parents involved. So I have a spiritual journal, and the kids write in it their prayers, their reading of the Bible, and if they don't do it, I call. I talk. I say what's going on. Yes,
The parents is,
that's what I'm
the
going to say.
priority for them is the school, not the Sunday school.
But we
I
can.
think so.
I'll tell you why, because it was not the priority. But we had to push.
Yeah.
Everything you push for, you will get some results. It's almost like like digging in the ground to put seeds. The ground might have rocks, might have thorns, might have whatever. But as a servant, what should I do? I push, I dig, I try my
Make it
best.
important.
But I have to first believe in the importance of what I am giving. If I believe in it, I will do every effort so that the kids will receive it. So the personal part, if they are sick, we have to visit. If they have something happen to them, maybe watch out for their birthdays. Make sure that you do their birthdays celebration. I wish we can transfer to baptismal date if we can, and it's doable. Now everybody has pictures of their baptism, and on the picture you would get a date. So if you try, you might be able to. And that's great, that's important because it transfers the importance, the focus of being the child of my parents to the child of God. That's the whole point. Okay? This year, activities and parents' meetings. This is what we need to talk about. Parents' meetings.
Yeah.
We need to have at least 2 parents' meetings, one for elementary and one for middle high, where the target is. What's the target? The first and most important target, just said it. To get their collaboration, to cooperate with us. So they actually can see and somehow develop a system where we can tell them what we study and what we're doing. Because if they are on board with you, if you sell to them Sunday school, your work will be very fruitful. So I'm actually in the curriculum, I'm starting especially in elementary to insert things about home activity. For example, I tell the kids, if we're going to teach, for example, teach about baptism. So what should be the home activity? When you go home, let your parents go through the pictures of your baptism and say who was there, what did Abuna do, how did Mama feel when you went underwater. All that stuff, it's fun.
Baptize your dolls. I used to baptize my dolls.
But I'm talking about the interaction with the parent. So how the mother would receive the baptism, who was there, which uncle was there, which uncle couldn't make it, and all that stuff. What am I trying to do? To make that lesson a family affair. So I talk about the church. I was asked, let the child ask their parents, who in our family was a church lover? He used to go to church. Let's hear memories about grandpa, grandma, uncle, who used to spend a lot of time with the church or go to monasteries. And what did they tell them? What did they teach them about the church? So that home experience, what does it do to the lesson? It gives it relevance. It gives it solidarity. That the church and home are actually one and not two. So this parents' meetings, we have to start working on from now before it's too late. You know, you already have passed the two big feasts of the beginning, which is Nairuz and Rosh. Now we're free to do something before we come into the new season, which is Kiyak, and this time is very precious. Let's use it to bring the families and work with them on how to integrate them into Sunday school. Okay? And the way of communicating with them. How do you want me to give you the lesson if you don't come? We can ask them that. If I send you a recording of the class, would you look at it? Would you listen to it? Let's see what happens. You never know. Okay, so I want one more thing from this. Here's what I'm dreaming for, is to get a master plan for the year. A master plan for all Sunday school. So for me, personally, I want that because I can actually put myself in the place so you don't surprise me. and I say to you, oh, on that day I can't do anything, that Sunday school will be a priority for me. So I'm gonna reorganize everything to make sure that your plan comes first. If you give me enough time, I'll plug it into the calendar that I have, and I don't worry about it. Then we know, and everybody knows what we will do, in what season, in what day, what time. If we can have that from now, I'll be excited. If we make that a habit every year, that we have that master plan ahead of time, and what we are celebrating in Sunday school, right? Right? So parents meeting, outings. So elementary might go to the museum, might go to the zoo. I know in middle and high you established a routine. They go to Florida at certain season. They make a trip to the amusement park at one time. They do this, they do that. So at least there's a routine, and that routine would not need the struggle every year to invent it again. Can we have that master plan? How much time we need to do it? What do you think, John? Master plan suppose.
Yeah, every class should have.
So at least middle and high should come together,
Yeah.
and then elementary should come together and make their master plan and submit it and say, this is what we are going to do 100%.
Yeah.
We're on it. And if we need help, we'll get help. At least if you give them enough time. You can get help from college, you can get help from fellowship, from high school if you want, but at least you have them, it's projected for a time to come, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month even. That's too soon. People have plans for stuff. So this is what I want to talk about this year, activities and parents meetings. So let's plan a meeting very soon with parents. It had to be on Sunday. I don't think you can bring the parents anytime. It's a big struggle to bring them any other time.
Abuna, for parents meeting, I think it's more helpful to do it per class. Last week we did the parents meeting in our class, and what we did, we were studying the Old Testament, so we kept asking them questions about the Old Testament, and most of it they didn't get it. So that's why it's so important that the kid doesn't miss a class. Because
The parents didn't get it.
on each other, parents didn't get it.
Uh-oh.
So yeah. So it was our way of telling them it's really important, to attend every week.
Okay. So you want to do it per class?
I think per class, because every curriculum is different in each class.
How good of an attendance you got?
We got every kid was there, and at least one of the two parents were
Great.
there. And
That's very good.
It's 8 kids.
Huh?
8 kids in the class.
I know, but there's classes at 22, 23. If every one of them has a parent, you would have a congregation to start a church if you want. Okay? So can we start this in the classes? If you want to do it per class, I'm fine. If you don't, as great, or a couple of classes come together and do it if they want. Okay, then let us see, when are you, I hope it is within this month, the month of October.
So we can't do it on Sunday.
Month of October.
We can't do it.
I did it at the time of Sunday, so I did it for parents and kids at the same
Oh,
time.
together?
Yes.
Abuna, you want parents' meetings with you?
It doesn't, I can be there, but it doesn't have to be.
Because she was talking about a parents' meeting just in the class.
Yes.
So our understanding is that you want a parents' meeting in the church where...
We'll do that too. That's what I wanted to do, is to do another
That's what
session.
I understood it to be.
No, parents meeting for all the church. What I'm going to do, I asked the
Oh, so it's
IT team.
not for the class?
No,
Ah.
no. For the classes, it's focused on what they're teaching. So that the
So
class,
you want to invite the parents to
the
the
parents to
class?
be with them at
Okay.
least, especially in the younger classes, to know what they're teaching, so we have that
But then it's
supervision.
by class, if you want that. Then you're saying that there's another parents' meeting
There's another,
for everybody.
I asked George and the IT team and the group that works on computers to come and give us a hands-on parental control session. So people will ask them ahead of time to bring their iPads and whatever gadgets they use, whatever computers they're using, and they would go and either recommend something to install. George was telling me this is something that he thinks he's going to kind of suggest they buy something called Koala. That's what you use at your home. It doesn't. So it doesn't really. It's not about parental control. It controls the internet, the source. It's a little bit expensive, $70 or so, but actually does not allow anything that you don't want your kids to see. It's a small piece of equipment that you put it at the router, I think, or before the router even, I don't know.
Something
As
like,
devices.
something like Chromecast. There is a small device. Something like Chromecast is the same thing. It's like filtering everything.
It filters the internet, so whatever comes out of it is safe for kids. He said this is the best thing to do instead of us going through every single system. Some of them have Windows, some of them has Apple, some of them has Unix, some of whatever. It's like endless. He says to control all these is difficult. So get one thing, put it on the source, and they're going to talk about it and how, and they're also going to talk about the problems with media. This is a big meeting. I'm waiting for them so they actually can be ready for it. And once they're ready and we are getting together, I'm going to announce it. It'll be 2 weeks ahead, and they can get information about it. All right. So this is about parents. So there is bigger parents meeting. I'm going to continue that maybe once a month. I think Mona suggested this, that we also have a parents meeting about not just parents, family meetings about relationships, about respect, about abuse, about bringing up kids, what to do and what not to do, all that stuff. We need to keep that ongoing every year. Every year we have to do it. It's not like done 1 year and we forget about it, we learn about it, move on. No. Every year, because new couples are coming, people have forgotten, people are into troubles, so we need to do this. Okay? Next. Now I'll go into the subject of our last subject of today. If you have any questions, anything. So I'm expecting from you to tell me when you're going to do your parental sessions, your parents' meetings, and also give me the master plan. A master plan of the year. What are you going to do for the rest of the year? Outings, activities, retreats, anything. Okay? Subject of intimacy. I want us to go like for 10 minutes into that. And it's one of my favorite subjects because it talks about a lot of things. And that piece of paper that you had, like 4 pages, it's about that. So before we go there, I want you to read with me a little bit from Genesis. As an introduction to this subject, let's read something from Genesis. Here is the piece from Before the Temptation. This is a piece from the book of Genesis about before the temptation immediately. So it says about after Eve was created, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And then look at this. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. It was brought to my attention as we were studying the Hebrew origins of these words, this word, naked. And I wanted to know what did the rabbis say about it. They said, naked here, and they were not ashamed. Naked, 6174, can you read the number? 6174 is close to subtle. Subtle here is spelled in Old English. It's S-U-B-T-L-E. Subtle. Subtle, and it's 6175. Look at the numbers. They're very close. So in the dictionary, in the Hebrew concordance, the concordance dictionary, which is Strong, called Strong's dictionary, is one of the dictionaries that actually tell you the meaning of these names in different places in the Bible. It puts them together, so you understand this word from different verses. It's a very useful tool. So when you go there, 6174, it's here. Said 6174 for naked, and 6175 for subtle. العربي العري والأحيا الحيوانات البرية. أحيا معناها إيه؟ Sneaky, tricky, لئيمة, right? فقالوا إن الكلمة العبري نفسها بتاعت naked عريان أروم، والكلمة بتاعت خبيثة أو لئيمة أروم أو أروم، مضمومة شوية أكتر، بس الكلمة أصلا زي إيه؟ It's the same, almost. They said because Hebrew is like Arabic. لما يقول لك إنسان ناعم أو إيه مزفلط. ناعم أو مزفلط معناها إيه؟ ما تقدرش إيه؟ تمسكه. قريب جدا من عريان. مو عريان يعني مزفلط. يقول لك لازم مزفلط من بطن أمه يعني. يعني إيه؟ الكلمتين قريبين من بعض جدا. They are two closely connected words in the Hebrew. The rabbis picked on this, and they said most probably, that the subtleness of the serpent was against the nakedness of man. That the two actually closely connected. That the subtleness of the serpent, its guile, was directed at the nakedness of man. يعني الحرفنة بتاعت الحية كأنها حد بيحد السلاح بتاعه عشان يحطه فين؟ في حتة ضعيفة. This is the weakness of man, and this is the strength of the serpent. And they're directed. The strength is directed to this. So, what does it mean? So let us follow the story and see that this has a very strong meaning. Has a strong meaning. Okay, so we go to 3, because this is where the temptation comes. So it means that the serpent is coming to tempt Adam and Eve to uncover their nakedness, to make them aware that they're naked. What was the result of eating from the tree? What was the result? They knew that they were naked, and they started to cover themselves with fig leaves and hide from God. So that hiding was the result of the serpent bringing them to that knowledge. So why? Okay, so what happened? So I think after they got to eat from the tree, why they were hiding from God, the serpent made them aware that God had left them naked. While every other animal, almost all of them, God did what? Cover. Hair, feather, skin, scales. So what did the couple think? What would you think? يعني انت كنت نايم او كنت نايمه وبابا وماما كانوا واخدين بالهم منكم انتوا نايمين، وبعدين يظهر واحد كان سكران زي ما حصل مع نوح، وبعدين بابا وماما كانوا موجودين في البيت وصحي الواحد لقى نفسه ايه؟ طالع بره الاوضه عريان. هتقولوا ايه على بابا وماما؟ هتمسكوهم من رقبته تقولوا انتوا ايه اللي حصل فيكم؟ What did you do? Why did you leave me to be naked? They were asleep almost, and all of a sudden they wake up, and all of a sudden they find themselves among the animals in of God in front of everybody, that's a nightmare, isn't it? It's a nightmare. So what did they have to do? Cover and hide. That's exactly it. So what did the serpent do? Uncover their nakedness. So why would God leave them naked? That's a good question. Why would God leave the couple naked? That's a very tough question because they hid themselves from God. Hmm? Why would God let them to be ashamed? Because that's the whole point. Because the serpent told them, do you think God loves you? Let me show you that he doesn't. They believe it. Because what can you have? What more proof you need to know that you were left alone to be naked and you were not covered like everybody else? So what is the point? The point has to do with why would God leave them naked? The point has to do with intimacy. How do you develop intimacy? How do you develop intimacy? How do you develop union with someone else? Now, في الأول they were not ashamed. Where does intimacy come from? How do you translate intimacy in Arabic? العلاقة الحميمة. العلاقات الحميمة. علاقات حميمة بمعناها الجد يعني. الزوج والزوجة، الأم والعيل. إيه اللي بيخلي الواحد يديفلوب علاقة حميمة؟ هي دي النقطة الكبيرة جدا. ما هما الاثنين مخلوقين ما يعرفوش بعض. هو صحي منهم لآخر. صح؟ They don't know each other yet. He woke up from sleep and he found her. And there's no barriers. He doesn't feel ashamed. She doesn't feel ashamed. They can tell their secrets to each other. There's nothing to hide. What would happen if you start to be ashamed and covered? Can you develop an intimate relationship? That's the question. So let us go to this idea. So it's not just about the body. It's not about the body. It's actually about the heart and the feeling. So let's go to this piece of paper I give you. Okay. All right, so let's read together what it means, because this is a study done by a person, and it's a really very good study. So it talks about levels of intimacy, how to be thinking of intimacy, how to think of intimacy. The man, his name is Matthew Kelly. So he defined intimacy is the mutual self-revelation. Self-revelation, this is psychology. Mutual self-revelation that allows us to know and be known. Intimacy is the mutual sharing of the journey to fulfill our life purpose, to become the best version of ourselves. He's going to use abbreviation of this. BVO. BVO. So, what are the levels of intimacy? ايه الطريق لان الواحد يعمل علاقه حميمه مع اي حد سواء كان ربنا او مع شخص مع زوجه مع زوجته مع عياله. لو قابلت حد في الشارع, if you meet somebody in the street, usually if you meet them on a bus station or you meet them in the train station, you would first use cliches. That's the first level of intimacy. It's impersonal. The weather is very nice today. How about what happened with the hurricane? Does that say anything about me? No. Nothing. This is cliches. The right amount of small talk to make people feel comfortable. That I'm not an enemy, I'm a friend, I'm okay. I'm a safe person. Useful for day-to-day transactions and for making initial connections with people. That's it. There is nothing that you would not know anything about me. Okay? Next level is facts. Say something about yourself. So this might be good morning, good afternoon, things like that. Hi. This one is a say something fact about yourself now. Lower level impersonal fact. Current events, whether, like I said, sports. This is actually number 2. I'm sorry. Higher level impersonal facts, a discussion of the life of Abraham Lincoln or what causes a tsunami. It's very impersonal, but a little bit more details, okay? Or personal facts. This is the beginning of opinion, so maybe you can say, I work at McDonald's. I am a teacher. I do this, I do that. So this has nothing to do with my opinions yet. Now, this is number 2. They call it level 2 intimacy. If somebody is interested, I'll tell them what's my work. Number 3, opinions. Revealing more about myself and offering the gift of acceptance to others. So they call it surfacing techniques. You know that, Mary? Surfacing techniques? Like when people trying to get deeper into you and then you try to bring them back to the surface. Yeah. So to diffuse the discomfort of controversy, and that prevents intimacy. Surfacing meaning, okay, what do you think of Trump? Okay, he's like anybody, he's like any other president. What am I saying? He's trying to get my opinion, or she's trying to get my opinion. I am going back to, okay, so whatever. Right? Knowing how, when, and why to agree and disagree gracefully. How to agree and disagree in ways that bring life to our relationships rather than destroying enthusiasm and creating resentments. When we diffuse, and want to say nothing, it doesn't bring peace. It actually brings frustration. Because there's no discussion. I'm actually cutting it short. Finding common ground, seeing the other's point of view, finding genuine agreement, not just surfacing. Acceptance is the key. Acceptance of those with differing opinion. Being with people whose opinions differ. Allowing others to be themselves rather than pushing them to be someone else. So if I push somebody to agree with me all the time, there will be no intimacy. If I ask somebody always to agree with me and to make sure that I'm right, this is no intimacy. This is not at all. This is again trying to change the person, which doesn't let them do their own opinions. Okay? This is good and important that we have to agree and disagree gracefully. Now we go to the next level, sharing hopes and dreams. Setting aside instant gratification. To build a future together. Like, I'm not really trying to help myself now. Maybe we disagree now, but let's say in the future, we will come to agree. Our dreams very often reveal our hopes, fears, fantasies, and deepest desires. Knowing what brings passion, energy, enthusiasm to the lives of those we love, what drives them? I want to know, what's your dream? What do you want? What's your life is about? What is that you are aspiring for? This is important. If you have somebody in your life that you care about, especially your kids, and the kids in the science school, knowing what you want and thinking about it genuinely, seriously, and putting aside your thoughts about them is very important step for intimacy. Same thing for your spouse. Same thing for God. God listens to us, and we need to listen to Him too. Willingness to delay gratification to achieve a joint dream. This takes a lot. That actually, I'm very convinced, for example, that we need to send the lessons by mail. That's like, I'm just going to put that out there. And Mona comes and says, that's too much. Then what should I say? If I'm seeking genuine relationship, what should I say? Sure, we don't have to do that now. If I'm going to be my way or the highway, then what? the relationship is stop. We're not going to have anything to work together with. If we started this way, there's not going to be no future. So willingly to delay. I'm not going to give up my dream that one day the Sunday school class, our Sunday school will be the best. We can talk about it as an example of Sunday school. But I'm willing to wait. It doesn't have to be perfect now. Okay? Same thing in relationships, in marriage. Marriage doesn't have to be perfect today. Then you see what the other thinks. What does he or she wants from life? Feelings is we're coming now into the nakedness. We're coming to take the pieces. Here maybe it is the undershirt. This is the undershirt of relationship. So feelings, emotional reactions, being vulnerable enough to tell how you really feel. Exploring how we really feel about people, places, things, and events. Learning to express in healthy ways for yourselves and without being hurtful to another. Feeling often reveal our brokenness. Now we're coming to a very sensitive issues. Because let's say that. I'm very disappointed that this happened. What the other could tell me if I say that? I feel so bad about it. And this is a reaction that would hurt big time. You're silly. You should tell me that I'm sad about this, and I say, oh, I don't need to be sad about this. You're very silly. What did I do? I exposed a little bit from myself, and what did you say? It's not good. What you exposed is not good. If somebody's telling you their feelings, a little baby, an older person, or whatever, you have to validate it. Feelings always have to be validated. What do we mean by validation, Mary?
To make them feel that you understand them.
And it is important. And it is important that you understand it is important. I'm with you. What if that feeling is against me? What is if that feeling is against me? Sometimes it's hard. Like you say, Abuna, you were wrong about this. You hurted me big time. What should I say? What should I say? I am the reason for you to be miserable. That's what you're saying. I'm miserable because of you. That's what husbands and wives tell each other. I am miserable. You made me miserable. What should the spouse say? If we're seeking intimacy, yeah, I would first have to kind of give the face that this is something big. Really, I'm sorry. What does that do? It makes me feel like what I'm exposing is acceptable. It is not rejected. It is not something ugly. When does shame come? When a person that you care about a lot does what? Push it. Don't want to see it. Okay? Allowing those we love to express their feelings, to be truly heard and listening. Usage, why people have the feeling they do and understanding, Yes, why people have the feeling they do and why they react the way they do. We're coming close to number 6 and 7, which is the top. Now we're coming, after feelings, you're coming to the faults. Fears and failures. This is close to the underwear. Very close. So, tending to healing. Exposing our woundedness. When a person speaks about their pain, not feeling, about the things, not just any pain, actually, when they went wrong, when they did something silly, stupid, or something shameful. Okay? That's the wounds of our past, healing our wounds and making new choices. This is a gift. You need an intimate relationship where you can actually speak about wounds for you to get rid of it, to heal it. You need an ear to listen to you and to accept what you're saying so that these wounds will be healed. That's the magic of intimacy. The next, sharing one's history, one's story, in its details that no one knows. that you don't want to tell anybody. Sharing that I have faults, that I need help, I'm afraid, and I have messed up. This is usually for addictions. If somebody has an addiction, this piece is a must. They need to confess to somebody that they have some problems. Knowing it is not about trying to fix each other, you know, it is not about the nail. You know that movie? It's not about the nail. So it is not about fixing any problems. You're not telling someone you're afraid of something so to be fixed. The whole fixing is in telling the story. That's the fixing. But walking bravely with each other. Forgiveness of self and others. Once I'm reaching this level, I can actually have the forgiveness. To be forgiven and to seek forgiveness. I'm working on a lesson of reconciliation for 3rd grade. And reconciliation prayer that we do. And I ask the question, I'm giving a few definitions, so this is for you to think about it. What does reconcile mean? Solh, tani. Actually, the technical definition. التعريف العملي للصلح. What is the technical definition of reconciliation? Yes, to forgive and ask forgiveness. The two, because there's 2 verses, Matthew 5:23 and 24, and Mark 11:25 says this. In Matthew 5, the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, if you offer your gift and you remember that you have done something to your brother has something against you, what should you do? Leave your gift, and St. John Chrysostom will say, what a wonderful God, Lord, that He's asking you to, He's going to wait for you. Put your gift here on the side, I'm going to take it, but just go first, reconcile to your brother. And the second one in Mark 11:25, what does it say? Every time you stand to pray, forgive. So He's asking us in Matthew 2, seek forgiveness. And in Mark, He's asking us to, so what's reconciliation? To forgive and ask forgiveness. When do I do this? But in the prayer of reconciliation, the end of it is a kiss of peace. Before I offer an aphora. Aphora is the gift of praise, the gift of God. That's the highest gift in the church. So in this reconciliation prayer, we have 4 words, or 3, I forgot how many. 4. So we first start that cleanse us from all hypocrisy. That's the enemies of reconciliation. Hypocrisy. What's hypocrisy? To pretend. There's no intimacy with pretense. We cannot have intimacy with God, nor with anybody when you keep pretending things. I pretend I love while I don't love. I pretend I have faith, I don't have faith. What's the other one? Guile. What's guile? Say Jacob was a man of guile. What's guile? Trickster. A person who do things to achieve personal, so he might pretend that he is loving and caring, but actually he has his own intention in it. Like Jacob said to his brother, I'll give you lentil soup, I'm gonna feed you, but if you give me your birthright, that's a trick. He went to his father and said, I'm your son, I want to feed you, but he wants to have the blessing. Next, what's the other word? Malice. What's malice? Intention to harm. Intent to harm. And the last one is memory of evil, that we remember things in the past that we should have forgiven. This is all problems with intimacy, but how I'm going to do this, if I ask God for all that, and I'm asking forgiveness, I actually can do what? Can forgive myself and others. Okay? Moving to making choices for the future, striving to be the best version of myself. The best version of myself. Striving to be the best version of myself, rather than being victim to one's past. Now, number 7, and that is the last one, legitimate needs. Legitimate needs is a dynamic collaboration to create the need-fulfilling lifestyle. To know and be known, to touch and be touched, to be very close and be close to. So, seeing, feeling, thinking, experiencing through your partner's perspective. This is union. This is when the two become really one. The last stage in intimacy. But you cannot reach there before number 6, which is exposing feelings. With partner, creating lifestyle focused on fulfillment of each other's legitimate needs. Knowing and responding in a dynamic way to each other's needs. like you're actually there. Physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual needs, helping your partner become the best version of himself or herself. Thriving through satisfaction of our legitimate needs. The 7 level of intimacy, you can find it on the internet. I'm not going to go to the rest of it, you read it for yourself, please. But what does it say to me? I'm a single person, I don't have a wife. But I know I can apply this to our relationship with God too. So in the garden, why did God leave them naked? Why? So they have, before they cover themselves, they have to make full intimacy. Because once he covered them, what happens? He's teaching them to cover. You get that? It is the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful gift given to humans. But yet the devil wants to make it that. That's always the case. Don't expose yourself. You will be ridiculed. You will be weakened. If you expose your feelings, the other will take advantage of you. God will take advantage of you, and He wants to take advantage of you, keep you under His control. So when a husband and wife comes to me, I'm not going to tell her that. She would think I'm weak. What's happening? They're not brave enough to protect intimacy. They're falling into the same temptation. Are you with me? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that intimacy is essential part in intimacy is vulnerability, exposure, being weak. You cannot have intimacy with being strong. You cannot. And it's going to have a risk. That risk is that you will be rejected. God was exposed, they were exposed, and God created them this way so you can have that intimacy. It's a very precious thing, leading to the oneness with God and oneness with each other. But what happened to the devil? What the devil gave? He turned it upside down. He told them, he wants you to make you weak, so you will always be in control, you will be controlled, you're not going to last with him. So he started to be suspicious of God and of each other. And the first thing Adam says, the woman that you give me. He, God, and the woman became enemies. Alright? I'm not going to take much about it, but I want you to just open your mind to this idea, this concept. So in our relationship with God, there has to be intimacy with God. There has to be intimacy with God. And I want you to think about it. So when we come next month, we'll talk how we can apply that intimacy to our relationship with God. I want you to focus on how you apply it to your husbands, wives, kids in Sunday school, you name it. If you want to develop love and union, what should we do? Should we go up and be in control, or expose ourselves and be weak and be vulnerable? That's the question. It's not easy. Okay. I'm going to leave you this. We have some things to do. It is already 9 o'clock. Next time we're going to talk about how to develop intimacy with God. Through that. Did it make sense? Okay. Any other things we need to talk about? Please read the rest of it so you actually understand. I'm going to take this and apply it to our relationship with God, but you have to focus on that subject by itself and see what you get out of it. If somebody can translate it to Arabic, that would be wonderful. Somebody can take this and translate it to Arabic, that would be the best. Because some of us will not understand all these words. So we have to kind of translate. So just say our Father. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, make us when we will say thank you. Our Father,